Recognized as in recognition?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought he like saw you at a Chili's or something like that.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And we're back!
Oh!
After 2 weeks, we can confirm Spider-Man's casting.
Finally.
Marvel's Phase 3 plans.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool shows up out of nowhere. The Ghostbusters is happening, and more.
Man, so how was your little vacation? We've been gone.
Well, it's been interesting to say the least. This is the first time I've recorded in my new apartment.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a much larger space, so I like it. A lot more freedom to, do activities and stuff.
So much space for activities.
Exactly. And Texas was pretty nifty. So that was fun. So what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh man, not a whole lot. Just normal like adult stuff that, no one wants to deal with, like car trouble and dumb stuff like that. We have to get our vehicles checked out here in California for smog. So I know for a fact my car is not polluting because it's only like a couple years old. So I know it's not spewing any sort of venom into the atmosphere. But I got this stupid like check engine light on, and like none of the mechanic knows what this little code it reads, and it's a whole issue that has nothing to do with superheroes, but it attaches to my life and it makes me grumpy.
It sounds like it. What you need is a superhero whose ability is to repair cars.
You know what? I just want Tony Stark to build me an electric car, which is basically Elon Musk, and I just want it to drive me to work.
You want Elon Musk to build you a car to drive you to work? Yeah,
he already makes these self-driving cars, so we're almost halfway there for me not ever having to drive myself again. I think the romanticism of driving a car is overrated. It's fun every once in a while, like I guess to go cruising, but like most of the time, people just want to be on their phones and texting, so don't let them drive the car. Let a machine drive the car. You're going to kill somebody.
Yeah, it's an antiquated notion, I suppose. I actually, when I was in Austin, we rode a bike all over the entire city.
Uh-huh.
And I was bitching about it the entire time because I'm totally out of shape to be riding a bike across the city, right?
Oh, no.
So I know one of our listeners / one-time guest, Quentin, rides a bike to work every day. Is that right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's a bike fanatic.
And I'm like, you know what? I was like, he's just being, I ride a bike to work every day, but damn, that is impressive. So kudos to him.
Sending out kudos.
Yeah, I got to give them where they deserve, man. You can't let them pass them up.
Is there a superhero out there whose like main thing is riding a bicycle?
I don't know.
I think they just automatically upgrade them to motorcycles.
Yeah, there's this like the Spider cycles and the Hawkeye cycles, and
I think the closest thing we have is that is Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Premium Rush. That's the closest bicycle superhero we have.
That's a pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good. I mean, at one point we had that one guy, Lance Armstrong, but apparently he's just a cheater. So
yeah, that's what we hear. Well, he can be the villain. He's the bad guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Now he he's all super mad because they caught him cheating. So now he can be the bad guy that's trying to come back.
Oh well, yeah, he probably deserves that. Let's give him a movie.
Okay.
So there's that. But either way, we got a lot of news to cover actually.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, we got like 2 weeks of news here. This is the first time we've taken a week off, so we got a plethora of things.
Oh, plethora! I love that word. Thank you for using that word.
No problem.
If it wasn't that, it'd be palpable. Palpable is my second favorite word.
Palpable. Okay.
Okay. So shall we get into the news?
Yeah, let's get in.
All right. So first off, biggest thing that came out after we took a break was Spider-Man's casting.
Yeah, this has been bouncing around ever since we started recording this show. The past like 20 episodes, we've heard rumors and whatnot, but we finally have our Spider-Man.
That's right. After months and months of speculation and rumors, Tom Holland is Spider-Man in Marvel's Spider-Man that's coming up.
Yeah, which is something that nobody really has opinion about because no one really knows Tom Holland. Apparently he's been in like one movie, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I think it was some sort of a drama movie. And I think he was a little bit younger back then in the film. I saw some of the screenshots for it, and it didn't quite look like a Spider-Man quite yet, but 2015, Tom Holland looks like he's up for the role. So I'm not too sure how I feel about this. I don't think really anyone has an opinion right now. We just have to see if he can come to the table and bring us Peter Parker.
That's right. And, well, some things I was reading was, he screen tested with Robert Downey Jr., and I think he was the only person who screen tested with Chris Evans.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they put him up with, they're big actors. They're huge faces for the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. And as we know, that means he'll be in Civil War next year.
Yeah.
So I expect to see a costume design reveal come D23. Because I actually expected this announcement to be at D23 rather than before Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And something some people pointed out was, in older pictures of Tom Holland, he's got like a mole on his chin.
Yeah, a little mole chin.
Yeah, and they were doing the whole Austin Powers, like, mole thing.
Uh-huh.
But he's since had that surgically removed.
Oh, wow.
So we won't have to worry about that. Not that it should, make us worry if he can act or not, but...
Yeah, I think it's just one of those... bizarre things where it's like I also want to know how that conversation went down. I'm sure it was just some sort of vain person in Hollywood, because I'm pretty sure I could have looked past it. I don't think it would have been a big deal. It would not have overshadowed the superhero heroism going on in the movie. But I guess he's okay with it.
Yeah, if he wanted to do it, so be it, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
but I'm excited. There's Spider-Man on the horizon. That just means we're that much closer to the rest of Phase 3 coming along.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you can help me clear some of this up, because we haven't talked about it in a while, and I feel like I've kind of lost the exact facts. So Spider-Man is still indeed a property owned by Sony, but it seems like he's been entirely incorporated into the fold of Marvel. It just seems like Sony is kind of just sitting back in their lounge chairs and just going to collect the checks.
Yeah, so I think it's Sony's fronting the cash for these movies. Like, they're producing them in collaboration with Marvel.
Okay.
So the person in charge is Amy Pascal for Sony, and working with Kevin Feige from Marvel, which is funny because they actually they worked together to introduce the first Spider-Man trilogy. So they did Spider-Man 1 and 2 that I know of, which are some of the best superhero movies still to this time. And Marvel is, gonna kind of write the movie and like give it the direction, but like Sony's probably gonna get the money.
Yeah. So this kind of sounds like similar to the deal that they have with the Hulk, maybe some different variations, because I was under the impression that if they want to make another standalone Hulk movie, I think they kind of have to make a deal with, I want to say Paramount.
Universal. Paramount's Disney. Okay,
yeah, that's what I thought. So it seems like they can incorporate the Hulk into the fold of an Avengers movie without much negotiation. But if they wanted to do another standalone film, they need to approach that studio. So it seems like they're kind of got the same thing going with Sony right now, which I didn't really realize. I never looked into the negotiations with the Hulk already, but it's kind of comforting knowing that Marvel is already doing something like this already. We just didn't know because the Hulk isn't as popular as Spider-Man is.
Well, I think it's a little different because the Hulk's distribution rights are with Universal. So Marvel owns the character. They can make the movie, but they have to say, Universal, do you want to distribute this movie first before they can actually distribute it?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, Marvel can do anything they want with the Hulk. So, but I think, again, this is funny. It's like a symbiotic relationship with Sony. Which,
Pun intended?
Yeah, no. But, like, I think Sony and Marvel both see the benefit. Like, Marvel's got the hits down. They know how to make the movie and use the character.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
Sony gets the money from it.
Yeah, I don't think Sony can survive another reboot with Spider-Man. I think this is indeed their last shot to get Spider-Man right, or else I think they're going to just, like, diluting the character's appeal. I mean, I'm sure he has, even diluting Spider-Man will make him do better than most unknown heroes, but no one wants to see him drag through the dirt anymore. So I just hope that everything goes well.
Yes,
I'm just a little nervous.
Yeah, I think we're in good hands. Again, this is going to bring up my next point, which is actually Ant-Man. Everyone's kind of worried about it, like Ant-Man. How can Marvel bring Ant-Man, this obscure character, into the fold, right? Well, the initial reactions, non-spoiler reactions to this movie, are that it's fantastic.
Oh, good.
Even James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, is this is one of his favorite movies since the first Iron Man.
Man.
And he gave us Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but I could also see this being in James Gunn's kind of wheelhouse. Even before Guardians of the Galaxy, he did kind of some really silly short films that were just hilarious and kind of might fit the vibe of an Ant-Man character. So I could see James Gunn liking it, but still, that's good news.
Yeah, and most of the times, if you look, he keeps his kind of judgment and reservations to himself. You're not going to find hardly anything on Age of Ultron, even that he said. But he raved about Ant-Man after he saw it at the red carpet premiere.
Yeah, I think the movie's going to be fun, honestly. I think I'm looking forward to a more scaled down story. More puns, pun intended.
Yes, good. I like that one.
But I think it looks like it's going to be a good time.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I'm in the same wheelhouse.
Have you? I saw that there was a final trailer released for the film, and I did not watch it. But I was wondering if you had a chance to see it.
I did watch it simply because I saw it was a trailer and not a TV spot. There's a lot this is what brings me to my first point about Ant-Man. Avoid the internet at all costs right now.
Okay, so anything Ant-Man related.
Pretty much, because there are TV spots and other things that are gonna ruin things that happen in the movie and whatever. So just start avoiding the internet really, really, really badly. Probably should have avoided 2 weeks ago. But this final trailer actually wasn't horrible. I think I'm more excited for this film right now than I was, 2 months ago.
Okay.
And another thing is there's 2 after credit scenes again in Ant-Man.
Ooh, I will start wildly speculating right now. Okay, so I'm going to think. Well, actually, it makes me think that there's going to be 2 because it's the official end of Phase 2. So I feel like one of the credit scenes is going to be a really big tie-in into the next Phase 3 somehow. Or I could see maybe more of a cheeky, funny ending like they did with the Avengers with the shawarma. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think one will be related to this film.
Okay.
They always tend, if they have 2, one tends to relate to the film itself. And then the second one will definitely, possibly not be the next movie, but something maybe 2 movies away, or Phase 3 as a whole. Because if you go back and look, they sometimes allude to the next movie, but sometimes they didn't. It's kind of a mixed bag.
Well, it makes you wonder. We don't have a scheduled Ant-Man 2. I don't think there's necessarily even room to fit it into their Phase 3, so it seems like if we're going to be getting an Ant-Man sequel, it's going to be a few years, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it's to a sequel, perhaps, but again, we have Civil War, Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2, where Ant-Man could come back.
Yeah, well, there would be no reason to bring Ant-Man into this fold and not use him in these teams, because whether or not the movie's good or not, I don't see them trying to cram a sequel to Ant-Man in this next phase. So that means, when is Infinity War Part 2? What's that, 2019?
No, 2018.
2018. So, I mean, we're at least 4 years away if we had a possible sequel to Ant-Man. That's pretty far in this Marvel universe. So it seems like this is going to be our one Ant-Man movie, and if we're going to be seeing him again, it's going to be in teams. You
know what? I take it back. Part 2 is 2019, so you're right. I was thinking Part 1.
Yeah, so I mean, that's 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's crazy.
And it's Paul Rudd. You can't have an actor like that and not use him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just going to sit on the bench waiting. He's so hot right now. I mean, he's not quite as young as Chris Pratt, but I would wager to say that he's funnier than Chris Pratt, just in my personal opinion.
It's true. And speaking of being on the bench, something, Kevin Feige kind of stated that people who are like, oh my gosh, where's the Wasp? They have plans for the Wasp in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so do not fret.
Yeah, I think that's great. I actually don't tell me if I'm right or not, because I rather go in clear. But when I watch the Ant-Man trailers that I have seen, I've either seen like one or two, or the teaser and then the first one. I've pretty much avoided kind of looking into the movie. Like, I haven't gone to the IMDb page and looked at the character's name. All I know is Hank Pym and Scott Lang. I haven't looked up the names of any of the other characters, so I don't even really know if the Wasp is in this movie in any incarnation before Powers or after Powers or whatnot. So I'm kind of curious to see where she pops up.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I don't know. Again, the movie's been at the red carpet premiere, and there's lots of information out there, but I'm avoiding it like the plague. So that's kind of where that is. So Ant-Man, 2 weeks. We may have something special coming up for it. So stay tuned on that.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome just going into this a little unknowingly, because stuff isn't being shoved in your face quite as much as Ultron was. Yes,
that's true, and it doesn't have the hype, or not the hype, but the I guess it doesn't have to live up to as much.
Yeah, and I guess before we drop off Ant-Man, we will be having a fun Ant-Man size spoiler cast once everyone gets a chance to see the movie, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of that, we're gonna jump into Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Hey, we were just talking about you, James Gunn.
We were.
And Chris Pratt, their ears are burning.
They are, and what we found out is the title for the second one will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
No, wah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I think that's like a working title. Not like, I think that could change. Marvel's marketing will probably be ultimately in charge of that. But if they keep it that way, I'm fine with it. It goes along with the Awesome Mix Volume 1, Volume 2 kind of deal. And we love that soundtrack, let's be honest. So I can go either way. I don't think it needs a fancy subtitle.
I was kind of enjoying the fancy subtitles.
Well, I think this is the first film that will have a 2 behind it since Iron Man. And I think that's something, Marvel's been done really well. And we've kind of talked about this, is that they don't need numerical. You can watch any Marvel movie as a standalone film. They don't need the numbers. You don't need to watch Captain America, and there's no Captain America 2. So I think that's kind of interesting. And if they do stick with it, that's great. And if they change it, even better. Like, I can go either way with this.
I think we should create some sort of bracketed tournament to see if people can guess what songs are going to be in the next next soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy, because it shouldn't be too difficult to narrow it down, because if the mix was indeed made by Star-Lord's mom, it should be within that same decade, shouldn't it?
Yeah, in that same time frame, hits of that era, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like we're going to be seeing hits from a different decade, because spoilers, the mom didn't live any past that year. So,
well, wow, way to be depressed. You could have just said he got kidnapped that year. Damn.
She's not allowed to make any more. Well, actually, we never really got any solid confirmation that she died, did we? I'm trying to remember the very beginning of the film. No, she died. Wait, yeah, she died.
Yeah, we'll just go without she died.
Yeah, okay. But either way, she's not making any more mixes.
Yeah.
But I guess this is a sad way we should create a bracket to see who can get the closest to the next volume.
If anything, we'd make a bracket for who Star-Lord's dad is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll look into that. We got some time. The script is done, and the title's there, and it comes out in first movie of 2017 from Marvel.
Yeah.
So, and it precedes Spider-Man, so that's going to be a good time. So, also in 2017, Thor Ragnarok is coming out.
Yeah, now that's a good subtitle for a movie.
If that's not ominous, I don't know what is.
Oh, man.
So Kevin Feige's been talking to the press, simply Ant-Man, Ant-Man season, and they've asked, and he said that the director and writer announcement for this movie will come at the end of the summer.
Ooh.
So they don't have a director and they don't have a writer. I think the writer is probably more concerning. However, they may have an internal team doing the first draft, and then getting someone else to do the final draft. Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was written by Nicole Perlman, and then polished by James Gunn in the end. So I could see them getting doing that, because they have to be working on the story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, it makes me wonder with this time frame. It seems like this is going to be announced at D23 around that time. So it makes me wonder if maybe it's like an all-star grouping. I mean, most of the time, announcements for who's writing and directing a movie, they're not the biggest announcements of the week. I mean, they're usually pretty cool to hear, but, you know, if they're saving it for, like, a conference like D23, it makes me think that, hey, it might be someone pretty well known.
They got Zack Snyder. No, I'm just kidding. You can keep Zack Snyder, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, keep him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, there's a lot about Phase 3 we don't know, and it's coming up really quick. And in this time, you know, Kevin Feige was asked a bunch of questions about Phase 3, and I got some information about Marvel's Phase 3 if you want to hear it.
Oh, man, that's juicy. I want to hear about this.
This is production-wise, just production-wise.
Still juicy.
Civil War is halfway done with production.
All right, that means we're going to be seeing some footage soon.
That means I expect D23 to give us that.
Give us that teaser trailer.
That's right. Doctor Strange actually starts production in November.
Okay.
Which is, you know, Marvel is about a year turnaround on their movies. Civil War didn't start until after Age of Ultron was done, pretty much. So that was a good turnaround. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 starts in February to March of next year. You can expect those on-set screenshots from camera phones soon. Yeah, as long as I get Rocket in his natural habitat, I will be happy.
No, I think you mean James Gunn's brother in that green suit.
Oh, yes.
I think, what's his name? He was in Gilmore Girls. He was my favorite character in that show.
His brother?
Yeah.
His brother was actually in Guardians 2 as one of the Ravagers.
Yeah, he was. And I think they also threw him in a green suit. And I don't know if he necessarily helped to play Groot, but I think he was a fill-in for Rocket.
Yeah, he was where Rocket would be in the film, yeah. So, yeah. And then June of next year, so a whole 11 months away, Spider-Man and Thor 3 will both start production about the same time.
Man, that Spider-Man set better be on lock, because there's going to be so much just flood of camera lenses all over that set.
I think it'll give Thor a chance to be really secretive, because no one will be looking for that one.
So, I mean, I guess we can just use this as a segment to kind of to speculate a little bit more, because speculation's always fun, and I think that's why people like to listen to shows like this. What do you think that we're going to see in that first Spider-Man movie? Like, just anything that you think might be possible.
I think it will be a villain we've never seen before. My personal favorites would be Mysterio and or Kraven.
Okay.
Probably either one. I think they both fit in the Marvel universe pretty well. Also, I don't think we're going to get an origin story. We've kind of reported on that, but I can feel there's no origin. He's been around a while. And I really hope that it will, you know, kind of go back to, like, seeing more of Peter Parker Spider-Man and, like, his troubles rather than, like, the villains.
Yeah, I think the likelihood of Mysterio kind of wages on if we end up seeing Mysterio in Daredevil Season 2 or not. I can't imagine that we would introduce a villain for the very first time on Netflix and then he would eventually come to the big screen. Well,
see, I'd go the other way, because that would be a good test to see if he works.
Yeah, possibly. But I feel like we're going to get a lot of his origin and a lot of his juicy stuff on Netflix, which is stuff that maybe we might want to see on the screen since we haven't seen him yet. But, you know, villain-wise, I don't really know. I mean, I feel like Spider-Man's always had some decent villains, but none of them have been, like, you know, monumental. They've always been kind of the same kind of, like, mutated creature. But it's kind of weird. You got to find a decent way to bring him in, because Norman Osborn always seems to be the linchpin with all of these villains.
Right.
So it's like how do you bring a villain in without somehow attaching it to Norman Osborn? You know.
Well, I think they did a great job in Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus, and you know he had a small tie to Oscorp, but like it wasn't the reason he was Dr. Octopus. And I would love to. I mean, I hold that movie up as Spider-Man 2 is one of the best superhero movies ever, and I think we need a villain like that as well. Yeah,
man, so that'll be crazy. I'm sure we'll have tons to talk about Spider-Man more in the future, but...
who would you want to see? What character do you want to see?
Man, I don't know. I still feel like Mysterio is the strongest, but I think it would be cool to see him pop up in Daredevil, but at the same time, when I try to think, how does Mysterio mess with a blind man? You know, I feel like he could be more effective against a Spider-Man. So, And then that could be kind of a way to harken back to Spider-Man's past, which is something that we're not going to see very much in this movie. Mysterio can bring up visions of like his Uncle Ben, that could kind of drive Tom Holland crazy, if you will. So I'm leaning towards Mysterio as well. So we'll just have to see if that happens.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna keep our eyes open for that. Maybe D23.
Yeah.
So I expect really good casting as well. So Marvel's done a great job casting. I want to see them cast a great villain for that.
Yeah. I wonder how long until we hear who Mary Jane's going to be.
Ooh, too long. Because Lord knows we love us some 16-year-old girls. Just kidding.
Too specific of an age group.
Yeah, really, really, really specific. We'll just go into girls more our age with Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Season 2 is coming up.
Miss Haley Atwell.
That's right. They've confirmed that Jarvis and Agent Sousa, the guy with the I guess the cane or the
limp,
limpers,
the bum leg.
Yeah, will return in season 2, and more are probably going to come back, like Dottie and the other dickhole agent, whatever his name was, and but they confirmed that, and I expect to hear more from that actually at San Diego, since Marvel TV will be at San Diego.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the bigger news out of Agent Carter in the last week is they came out with a poster for it and the Hollywood signs in the background.
Oh yeah, that's right outside your back door.
Yeah, so that's kind of ties into maybe the beginning of West Coast Avengers a little bit. I think S.H.I.E.L.D. has some origin on the West Coast. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Well, if you think the Starks are West Coast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Tony Stark lived there in California, and I assume she helped start S.H.I.E.L.D. with his father, Howard Stark, and I think we're gonna see some of that starting to rise up. Yeah,
so I think that'll be really cool. We've kind of gotten that post-war lifestyle in New York, so now we can kind of see Los Angeles post-war, which I'm curious if it'll actually film out here or not, since a lot of production is kind of leaving Los Angeles County. But maybe they'll bring it back here and we can kind of see some authentic locations.
Yeah, that'd be cool, as long as they can date them back to the 40s, 50s.
Don't worry, we got it. We got this.
You got it. They haven't aged a day.
Yeah, just call me up. I'll come down and I'll help paint something.
That's right. You're a great painter, Mike. So TV-wise, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gave us a little glimpse of something. I sent this to you this week via message. They have, said Secret Warriors is coming.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
In Season 3. And I love Secret Warriors. Have you read it yet, Mike?
No, but you kind of gave me the rundown, which got me really excited. It basically sounds like this next season is going to be an adventure across the globe to find superpowered people.
Yes, and this is a secret team of superpowered people used to fight larger things. And it was written by Jonathan Hickman, who's one of my favorite writers, who's writing the Secret Wars right now. And in this, a lot of the characters, like Daniel Whitehall and the organizations, who's the organization in Agent Carter? Leviathan. A lot of these TV series are pulling from this series, and it's 28 books. My brother actually helped me. I've got a lot of the hardcovers, and my brother bought me the rest of them for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
So I have them all in hardcover, and it's just an awesome series, and I'm so happy to see that they're not holding back. They're like, will they, won't they get super happy? No, they're going all in.
So, from your experience and from your knowledge of this series, what do you think our villain is going to end up shaping to be in Season 3? Since, spoilers, not spoilers, but I guess Hydra is going to be sitting out for a while, I guess.
Right, and I think, we're going to get some rogue Inhuman elements from this. We have that weapon in the end of the season, I guess, against the Inhumans, and it's probably going to cause some issues between other hidden Inhuman, colonies, because they definitely exist. I think Grant Ward will be the big bad.
You think so?
He will be our quote unquote new Hydra for that series, and he'll probably be doing the same exact thing since he has all the S.H.I.E.L.D. knowledge, and try to build up a team of super powered villains. What I want to see in Marvel, I hope you're listening, is Graviton come back.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Graviton.
And the guy who has that, I cannot think of his name because he wasn't in very many episodes. he was kind of like that sleazy bad guy in the first season.
Yeah, didn't he kind of have that like pretty boy kind of like tailored suit style to him, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, he's kind of like an evil Tony Stark. Like he was smart, but like not overly smart.
Mm-hmm.
In Quinn, I'm pretty sure. Yes, in Quinn, because he was the CEO of Quinn Worldwide.
Uh-huh.
And he took the Gravitonium at the end of season 1.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen... Didn't we see like that pop up for like a moment in maybe one of like the SHIELD headquarters?
I mean, yeah, I think they know where it is, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. I want to see him come back. In Quinn was one of the best parts of season 1, I think, as a villain. Mm-hmm. And I want to see him come back and have Graviton with him.
I think that sounds exciting. Like, people should definitely be excited because I'm excited, and that says something.
Right. And remember, don't forget, season 2 is on Netflix. Go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, our fan of the show and one-time guest, Quentin, he has been watching it and he's been enjoying it. So,
oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. I'm glad to hear other people are getting there.
Yeah, so what we're trying to say is it's worthwhile to catch up.
Yes. Please do.
You'll be rewarded by the end of season 2 with some fun.
A lot of people are running marathons this summer. Please just go marathon a TV show for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, bad jokes aside, X-Men Apocalypse. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. X-Men Apocalypse will be at Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con, Mike. You're gonna be there. Are you gonna go wait in line?
Oh man, it's so much effort, so much work just to get into one hall, and it's really hard and really difficult knowing that the majority of the news is not secretive. Like, the only real motivation you have is to catch some early footage that the rest of the world can't see yet. But like I've known from you personally, somehow you manage to get these like cams of people with phones in the audience, which is a big no-no, but somehow you managed to get the footage, so I end up seeing it from you anyway. So you kind of saved me waiting in line for, 18 hours to get into one of these halls.
That's right. I scour YouTube and other video sites for footage the minute it arrives to download before they take it down.
Yeah, they can't stop the uploading, so you got to be quick.
Yeah, so like last year I got a lot of Batman v Superman footage early and some Age of Ultron stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to get more of that this year, I guess, for X-Men Apocalypse and other things. So yeah, Hall H, kind of a joke, unless you want to be, say, like, I saw this 30 seconds that nobody else is going to see until the movie comes out. Blah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it mainly comes down to the reason you want to be in Hall H, the infamous Hall H, is not so much of the footage, it's of the once-in-a-lifetime announcements that, no one knew of. I'm really envious of those people that got to be in the audience for the announcement of Batman Superman, because that was a monumental announcement. We didn't know that movie was coming. We knew that there was going to be maybe an incarnation of it, but we didn't know that it was going to be coming so soon. And, oh man, it would have been so cool. But, you just kind of have to wager if you manage to make your way to that convention, especially maybe if you're coming from the other side of the country. I mean, I'm only 2 hours north, so I'm very close. Do you want to put so much effort and dump all of the time for your convention time into one hall? I don't know. But either way, we're going to be getting some sort of announcement out of this. I'm guessing a teaser trailer.
Yes, and I think it's next week, right, is our San Diego Comic-Con podcast.
Next week, we're going to be going over all the Comic-Con news.
That's right, so expect a lot of that.
Yeah, it's going to be thick.
Yeah, like...
It's going to be like an omnibus.
Just how I like my women. Thick and on the bus. Okay. That went a little far. I apologize.
Oh, no, I loved it.
Yeah, good. I'm glad somebody does. So, that's it for Apocalypse. X-Men, Days of Future Past, the Road Cut's coming out. Are you ready for that?
I mean, I'm not going to be waiting in line, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, so it's on Blu-ray and digital starting the 14th, which is, coming around the corner. I've been trying to get an early release copy so I can watch it. I mean, I'm going to buy it. It's going to go on my shelf. There's 17 extra minutes. It looks good. Mm-hmm. We got a picture of Iceman and a trailer on there. I haven't watched Days of Future Past maybe once since it came out.
Yeah.
And I could revisit it and see how I feel with this new version.
Yeah, I'm really bad at rewatching movies. I hardly ever do it. Not for the lack of not liking the movie, but I just seem to have a a short attention span for rewatching material. But I think this would be a perfect opportunity to rewatch the film.
Yeah, and when it comes out on the 14th, probably in 2 weeks we'll have I'll give you some thoughts on it.
Yeah, give us the down low.
Yes, I will. Not the download, but the down low.
Oh God.
I'm on a roll today. I'm sorry, you can't.
Oh, well, let's roll on to the next topic.
Yeah, we're gonna roll on to Deadpool, who has just as bad jokes as I do.
Oh, this is big news, not big news.
Right. So the first official images were released of this,
which I was surprised because I swear the images we've seen before almost looked as good as this photo that we're looking at right now.
Right. So these photos look like they were taken on the set, right? But the first the two, there were three. I'm not gonna put the third one up because it doesn't matter. But the first one is Deadpool at an upside down car and looks like some mercenaries on the ground. He's got his guns in his hand, right? That is Deadpool to a T.
Yeah.
For a movie that probably has a really low budget, they put the right time and energy into that costume to make Ryan Reynolds look like Deadpool is real life. Like I'm blown away. I don't care for the comic book character so much, but I am blown away by how awesome this looks in real life. Yeah,
and this is just excellent because most of the time you can get actors that are divas that don't want to be in a movie if their face is going to be covered up. I can't remember who it was. I want to say, this is just totally off the top of my head, just assume it's false, but I want to say Tom Cruise was offered a role and he wouldn't take it because his face was going to be covered up. I think
Iron Man. Iron Man.
Yeah. So I'm glad we don't have a diva Ryan Reynolds. He just wants to be an awesome Deadpool character.
He's like, you don't meet people who are fans of the character so much as Ryan Reynolds. And seeing this as his second outing as Deadpool, I think he wants to make up for it. And on the second image, we actually get to see him with Negasonic Teenage Warhead, some sort of teenage mutant who this looks like someone I don't want to talk to. Gothy, emo kind of, like this is someone who hangs out with the goth kids on South Park. And again, another shot of Deadpool. I am blown away.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks too perfect. I think you said that it looked like it was rendered in CG. It looks so good.
I don't know. I didn't think I said that.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever it was, they were pretty accurate. It just looks so good. It looks just so perfect. And one of the other images that we're not showing, I don't know, maybe we'll show it now because I'm talking about it.
Great, more work for me.
He was sitting on a bridge, looked like he was reading off a piece of paper or something, which was very similar to that test footage that we saw.
Yeah, so they probably put the test footage right in the movie because of the reaction to that scene.
Oh, I'd be so okay with it. That test footage was so much fun. This movie is going to be amazing because we've got our hard R rating confirmed. It's going to be gruesome. It's going to be like, I don't know if this is an oxymoron, but it's going to be an adult superhero film. I think it's just going to be fun. I think Marvel, Fox are going to break records for a February release. I don't know exactly what they're contending with in the month of February, but I think they're going to break lots of records for that. I think they're still going to break lots of records for that month.
No, I agree with you, and this is one of those. It's a love letter to the fans because I don't think they're constricted by everything else, like trying to be a summer blockbuster. It's not trying to appeal to every age, and I think it's because it's having that much fun with it. It's going to win over everybody, and I expect a trailer at San Diego.
Oh, that would be great. And I just want this to. I know this movie is going to do good. But I want it to do good because that means we're going to get more of this. We're going to get more Deadpool sequels. We're going to get more adult-themed superhero movies. We're going to get more superhero movies scattered throughout the year because right now we get early summer, and sometimes the winter. But I would love a superhero movie at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's true. And if not, at least maybe it'll bleed over into the television series where we're going to get a Punisher TV series if John Bernthal takes off with it. I would like to see a Moon Knight TV series, and that's something people are kind of hesitant to touch. So we'll go with that. So Deadpool definitely rocketing up the charts on anticipation as we get closer to February. Yeah,
right now on the anticipation hype train, Deadpool is getting close to Star Wars.
That
for sure.
What? Did you just say that?
It's getting close to Star Wars. I'm just saying nothing's gonna top Star Wars. I mean, it is so high up the ladder. And it's so triumphant. It's broken all the rungs below it, so no one really has a chance to get above it. But I mean, Deadpool is starting to look like a whole lot of fun. And as soon as Star Wars is over and I'm done geeking out over that, my attention is going to go to Deadpool.
I think you're right. It's going to be a return to fun, and I'm ready for it. So go
Yeah.
Deadpool. Star Trek 3 is our next topic, actually. We don't really cover a lot of Star Trek. I'm not a huge fan. I think your wife is a big Star Trek fan, but more the older series.
Yeah, she likes the older series, but I enjoy the new movies. I think they're fun.
So the new Star Trek 3 is going to be called Star Trek Beyond.
Ooh.
And the main cast, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, has actually signed on for a Star Trek 4. Which I didn't
cool.
think. I honestly did not think they would sign on for a fourth movie.
Yeah, I was almost kind of expecting maybe the Star Trek trilogy would end it and kind of take a step back and let Star Wars kind of reign supreme for a couple of years. But I don't know, maybe they think this fantasy kind of sci-fi space exploration might work really well with Star Wars bringing up the hype for the whole kind of genre.
Well, what I was expecting actually is like a next generation for the next trilogy. Like, you know, we got these new versions of our old characters, and now let's get new versions of the other characters. But maybe 4 will serve as a stepping stone between those two.
Oh, that could be.
So, I mean, I'm not a Star Trek fan. I liked the first one. I did not like Into Darkness as much. But I'm excited to see where Star Trek can go in the age of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're kind of on par, I think, with most of the reaction to these Star Trek films. People want more of the themes that they are typically used to in Star Trek movies. They want to see them exploring the galaxy, finding the unknown, and not so much of the action-packed space battles that we've been getting. They were entertaining to me, but I'm not too precious to the source material. You know, I just had a good time. So I think some people are considering this third Star Trek movie maybe finally the start to what Star Trek should be. So if this third movie goes well, it could really be starting off the franchise.
Yeah, and we're going to get what I lovingly refer to as a Baker's trilogy with 4 movies.
Yeah, the Baker's trilogy. I like that.
I told my fiance that, and she thought that was like the most clever thing ever. And I'm like, finally, someone gets me.
Yeah, you should probably go ahead and marry her then.
I should probably put a ring on it. Oh, wait, I did.
Oh.
So yeah. Anyway, speaking of love, Batman versus Superman.
Where's the love factor? In our love for the movie or Wonder Woman's infatuation with one or both of these men?
I think Batman and Superman, there's a bunch of homoerotic tension there, and that's the actual love.
She just can't find a way to weasel in between that.
They put the V in there because there's actually secretly love written in there. Batman loves Superman, but they whited it out so it just looks like a V.
She just lost some of the letters.
Yeah, so no, but seriously, Batman vs Superman is coming up. I'm getting a little more hyped for it. I originally wasn't because, you know, it's been a slow process with this one. It's a slow burn. They've been working on it for years, right? And I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll get there eventually, and you know it'll be good. So take a look at this. We got 5 new images. Okay, Batman is in all of them but 2. So I feel this is a Batman movie first and foremost.
Can you pull the one theme that I'm seeing out of all these photos? Can you guess what I'm seeing?
No.
I'm going to tell you. It's hair. I guess except for the photo with Batman in front of the searchlight.
Oh, you talking about Lego Batman? Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got a Lego Batman. They all got like topical hair. I feel like we could set 5 minutes aside for each of these photos to talk about the grooming. But I think we're going to go ahead and cut to the chase and go, what's up with your hair, Jesse Eisenberg? That's a freaking wig on your head.
Right, so we've got the first image that shows he's bald a couple months ago, right? And now this one's showing him that he's got like shoulder-length brownish red hair. And I mean, is this a scene out of like Zombieland 2 or what? There's nothing that says this is Lex Luthor to me. And it's a nice cardigan, but thanks for noticing. So I don't know.
I mean, all this tells me is that there's a scene in the movie where he shaves his head. And that just does not make me more interested. I think he could have just been bald throughout the whole movie. I mean, that's just Lex Luthor. We don't need the origin story of his bald head.
Well, do you think that... I mean, my assumption is that Zod's dead body is going to come into play in this movie.
Oh, do you think he's gonna steal his stem cells to grow hair out, but then it like attacks his scalp and he has to shave it? Damn it, I was so close.
You just spoiled the whole movie, you son of a bitch.
No, but I do like that angle. I actually never thought about that. I mean, Lex is not necessarily just like a billionaire businessman. He's very much smart and scientist, so I think that would be cool.
Yeah, and from that, I think, again, he seems like someone who would test on himself before whatever, like maybe give himself Superman powers.
Mm-hmm.
And that could, stem from that. I don't know. This is all speculation, but out of these 5 pictures, that's the one that makes me stop and look.
Yeah, which it really shouldn't be. It should be any of these other photos. I mean, we finally get another look at Wonder Woman. What's the actress's name?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, she actually embodies the role really, really well in this. I don't know if it's just the angle that we're seeing, but she looks like she could be Amazonian. She looks like she's fitting the role.
Right, and she's with Bruce Wayne, which is interesting. Again, that Ben Affleck. This is Ben Affleck. That was Daredevil. 12 years ago. Looks like Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah.
I think all the hate that he got originally, like, shit, we were wrong. Give me my plate of crow because I'm gonna eat it.
Well, when I'm kind of looking at the character of Bruce Wayne, he is seasoned, he is old, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it makes me start to think about the future of Warner Brothers and DC on screen, and it makes me think that their legacy is not going to stretch quite as long as Marvel. I mean, obviously, they've started late into the game. I mean, we're just kicking this thing off in the middle of Marvel's Phase 2. So by the time this kind of wraps up, Phase 3 could be wrapping up. It makes me think that they're not going to go for 3 phases. They're not going to go for a whole decade,
Yeah, it's a lot like their comics, actually. Like, every 6 to 10 years, they reboot their comic line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is kind of what they're going with. They're very short term because DC's not taking risk on unknown characters.
Yeah.
You don't see Plastic Man getting a movie out of DC. The Atom showed up on the TV series, but he's not going to show up in the cinematic universe, right?
Yeah.
But Marvel's like, Ant-Man, fuck yeah, we got Ant-Man. Let's make a movie out of him. So I think, an old Batman is not. He might get one movie, but I don't see him getting another trilogy of movies before they have to recast Batman.
Yeah, I think it's cool that we get an opportunity to see an older, seasoned Bruce Wayne. I think that's great. I'm not complaining at all. But it just makes me think that we might see a reboot of the Warner Brothers DC universe. Maybe around the same time Marvel reboots. We haven't talked about that too much. But I mean, do we really think there's going to be a Marvel Phase 5 and Phase 6 where we still see the Tony Stark that we all know and love, played by Robert Downey Jr., and he's just popping in every once in a while just to say, "Hey, I'm still here. Where's my paycheck?"
Well, I think Marvel, they've even got on record to say that they view it as like a comic book. Like, if they need to recast it, they're going to do it and just go on with it. Be like, it's a new artist, new story kind of deal. But I think DC has a point where there's a series called Flashpoint several years ago, and the Flash TV series kind of alternate timelines with alternate people. So I think they could reset themselves with the Flash if they needed to.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
And like make it a legit reboot. Same thing Star Trek did. If we go back to Star Trek 1, the original timeline was altered because somebody went back in time.
Yeah, that's true. Time travel, that's the best way to retcon your universe.
Yeah, and Lord knows when I talk about Terminator Genisys here in a few minutes, we'll let you know about time travel.
Oh, let's go. Let's do
All
that.
right.
I want to hear you talk about Terminator.
Great. Justice League. The script is complete for the Justice League movie.
Oh, okay.
That's really about it. There's nothing else we know. But they did say it was done. I think Chris Terrio, who wrote it, he's a big frequent collaborator with Ben Affleck, wrote it. So they've got that done. I don't know if it's part 1 or part 2, but I think it's probably just part 1. But the script is done for it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the biggest announcement that we'll have to get out of that is who's going to be the villain. I think it's probably pretty obvious who it could be, but I don't know.
Who's obvious? What's obvious?
Well, I'm thinking it could be. I don't know if it would be him or not.
Lay it out there. It's all speculation.
Okay. I think it's basically maybe we might see Superman die. Maybe it's the dude that we all know that killed Superman.
Doomsday?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. There's that. I'm actually going to go with Brainiac.
Brainiac? Okay. That could be cool, too.
Brainiac is a big play in the latest DC reboot, and I think he'd be a character that we've not seen on TV or it's kind of not very popular to come back into play.
See, this is how DC can retcon their whole universe. We can get old Batman, and we can see Superman get killed by Doomsday, and then we can just see the Flash freak out and just retcon the whole thing with time travel.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, something we've not heard a lot of: Green Lantern news there for us. Chris Pine actually could potentially be the Green Lantern.
Yeah, I think I don't know how far this news is past rumor right now, but I've heard rumor. What have you heard?
Well, same thing. I mean, Chris Pine is up for something at DCWB. We kind of thought it would be in Wonder Woman, but I could also see him being the Green Lantern as well, the Hal Jordan, with Tyrese Gibson really, really pushing to be the John Stewart Green Lantern as well.
So you think we're going to get two Green Lanterns at the same time?
I think they have that opportunity to do so.
Now,
again, these will be older, grizzled Green Lanterns like Batman. Like this isn't something that just pops up.
Yeah, because I mean, you're more familiar with Green Lantern than I am for sure. I never really knew that there was points in the story where we had multiple human lanterns at the same time.
Oh yeah, at some point, I think recently there's like 5 or 6 of them. My favorite is actually Kyle Rayner.
Oh, really?
Who's not even been in the films. He's more of an artist, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, there's multiple ones, and I could see this being kind of like a buddy cop kind of thing. So yeah. Anyway, other DC movies coming out next year: Suicide Squad, right?
Are you telling me we have more Suicide Squad news?
Yes. David Ayer, the director, has a therapist on set for the actors.
Oh man. I feel like no one's taking advantage of that, and he just wants to do it just so we can be like, this movie's so crazy, we have a therapist on set.
Well, I think it comes down to the Joker role. I mean, we saw kind of what happened with Heath Ledger when he went into the character. And even Jack Nicholson said, stay away from that character. Like, becoming the Joker will mess with you.
Yeah, I mean...
I think it says safety first.
First. Yeah, I guess. I think it's just more of these actors are just, by their nature, dramatic, and they just want to make it. I mean, obviously, there's lots of rumors around what happened to Heath Ledger, but I find it hard to believe that becoming a character could be your downfall. I mean, I just don't see it happening.
I don't know. It's what's his name? I can't think of his name. Who's playing the Joker now?
Jared Leto.
Yeah, he just seems stupid enough to do that, though. To me, just become the character offset, like go into method acting. Who's that guy who does the Abe Lincoln role?
Yeah, I was just thinking of him too. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Because I saw a picture of There Will Be Blood today, and he was in that. And again, we're not actors. I mean, I've studied film, but there's different ways to act, and I think this is more of an insurance thing, probably.
Yeah.
If something does happen, we had a therapist on set.
Yeah, don't worry, we covered our asses.
Literally. Okay, so next up, we got some more DC news, movies. Marvel has different comic lines, right? Men in Black was actually a comic book under Marvel before it was a movie. So was Kingsman, and so was Kick-Ass. They weren't under Marvel's imprint, they were under another company Marvel owned. DC has one called Vertigo, which we're familiar with Sandman. Sandman's under Vertigo. It's more of a realistic kind of... Constantine was under Vertigo. So what we have now is Vertigo movies will actually be produced under New Line instead of Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I didn't know many were under there, actually under going to New Line. Most of the ones I thought were just under the regular universe. However, this excludes the DC's Dark Universe series, which I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but Guillermo del Toro was writing, Dark Justice League or whatever, Justice League Dark, but Del Toro's off the project now because he can't see a project through fruition.
No kidding. I mean, I feel like he's the one guy everybody wants to see attached to a project, and then he is always unattached. There's not enough Del Toro to go around.
Right, and but apparently Dark Universe still exists under Warner Brothers, so we're going to probably see some Dark Universe news eventually.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I would like to see Del Toro go back and do Hellboy 3 if he's unattached to this. So, I mean, but, whatever. That happens. DC Vertigo, if it's a Vertigo title and it's not Dark Universe, it's going to be under New Line and not Warner Brothers. So, yeah. We're going to kind of speed this up here, I guess. I not really speed it up, but get through some of the stuff here. Ghostbusters. We've talked about this before. New movie coming out, all female cast. They got new outfits, and they showed us new proton packs.
Yeah, this is the first time for me seeing the proton pack. I mean, the outfits, there's not much to go off there. They're just kind of...
they look like the old outfits from the original movie.
Yeah, typical jumpsuit, so nothing to worry about too much there. The proton pack almost looks like it's been downgraded.
Right, it looks kind of like something like I would find in like some weird yard sale. That someone had cobbled together, like, oh, this is a fuel pump for my, 87 Chevy. But I mean, yeah, it's not as bulky, it's not as big. There's not as many flashing lights, really.
Yeah, it definitely looks more industrial.
Yeah, and it's like it's seen better days.
Yeah, a little steampunk-ish, possibly. Obviously, with new advanced ghost fighting technology, which I don't think Steam has any advantages over. But I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I want to see the people in the suits, and I want to see the proton pack on them with all the CG lights and effects they're going to put on it.
Yeah, we want to see the whole package together. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think Ghostbusters may have a panel at Comic-Con next weekend.
It probably does. I mean, that's getting a lot of buzz. Again, we're not the biggest fans, but if you want Ghostbusters stuff, let us know, and we'll find out what we can.
Yeah, you ain't afraid of no ghost.
I am not. Except, yeah, I probably am.
Okay.
That's why I have a nightlight in my hall now.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Actually, it's mostly because I don't fall down the stairs.
Oh,
and become that ghost.
Yeah, it's practical.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. This next bit of news here, you kind of threw on me because I was gone in Texas, and we both started documents on our notes here. You said he made some sort of racist comments?
Well, I just kind of wanted to bring this up because I feel like it was falsely reported, but I had a feeling it was going to fall by the wayside and people would forget about it in a couple weeks, but I just wanted to clear it up in case this had changed anyone's opinion on Stan Lee, because it shouldn't have. Basically, someone asked how Stan Lee felt about maybe the Spider-Man character not being white in the new movies, but it all got mixed up because they were trying to say, like, oh, Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and Stan Lee was just like, no, I think Spider-Man should stay the way he is, and just you should be making new characters and not taking older characters and changing their race. So this wasn't really a racist thing. Basically, he was just like, Peter Parker is white. He has always been white. So if you want a Spider-Man that's not white, you have to get a different person like Miles Morales. So some news websites ran with this and tried to claim that he thinks Spider-Man should be white, but they just didn't understand what was going on. So I just wanted to let people know that Stan Lee is not a racist old man. He just thinks Peter Parker should keep his nationality, and just the same as people would think Miles Morales should keep his nationality. I mean, there's no reason to change Miles Morales to like a different race just to fit some sort of casting. He's gonna stay. What is Miles, like, half Latino, half African American?
That's correct.
Okay, so yeah, Miles Morales is always going to be that nationality, and Peter Parker is always going to have the nationality he has. So he was basically just saying that, like, there's no reason to change it. If you want a different character, you make a new character. So it was just stupid. I didn't like how these news sites made these clickbaity titles so people would click in. But I just wanted to clear it up. Stan Lee just wants to keep the character he invented just the way it is, which is totally fine. He's not a racist old man. He is still the Stan Lee we love.
Good. Also, he was hospitalized last weekend, if you didn't know that.
That's sad.
But he was out the next day and made the Ant-Man premiere, and he looked great.
That's right, because he's some tough shit, that's why.
You can't kill Stan Lee.
Nope. And so, I hope he never dies, because that's going to be a sad day, man.
Me too. He's half my resume, so where he called me a good man. Next, Mike's favorite segment, TMNT 2.
Let's jam this in here.
Yeah, let's fit it in. Bebop and Rocksteady are getting motorcycles, and
Yeah.
they actually look kind of cool.
Yeah, they're getting some pretty cool whips.
Well, I'm really surprised
as
they
the kids
actually
say.
made real motorcycles for them.
Yeah, they look kind of cool. I mean, they look like very much cartoony. I feel like
Exaggerated bikes, to say the
yeah,
least.
I feel like these could fit in a cartoon universe pretty well. But
Yeah.
I think it looks kind of fun. I mean, that's what I like about these movies. They're just fun.
They seem to be an emphasis on vehicles in the second movie. Like,
Uh-huh.
we've got the turtle van. Casey Jones has a car. These guys have bikes.
Well, how else are we going to sell toys for this movie if there's not vehicles to go along?
I can't wait for the Fast and Furious crossover.
Fast and Furious Turtles, baby.
That's right. Lastly, I want to talk about Terminator Genisys.
Yeah, you went and saw it, and I do believe this was on my shit list for the year.
It is on your shit list. I actually have it pulled up in another tab.
And if I believe correctly, is this my last movie on the list? Because
No.
I thought my fifth movie got pushed into a different calendar year.
You have Point Break after this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we can assume that's not going to be good either.
Yeah, Point Break. I have not heard anything good about the trailer that came out, but Point Break has been moved, or not moved, but Jungle Book was moved.
Yeah, so
you
I'm
don't have
just
to worry
going to
about
go.
that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that's a doc for the movie to getting pushed.
However, Point Break does look like it's on Rotten Tomatoes has been moved to December 25th.
Oh, it's getting close.
It was supposed to be July, so it was moved back. But at the same time, that's Star Wars territory.
Yeah, it's gonna get trounced.
There's gonna be a mud hole stomped in its ass if it stays on that date.
Yeah.
But anyway, Terminator. I went and saw it. I went in relatively blind. I saw the first big trailers. I didn't watch any of the clips. I had a good time. I have to admit.
Okay.
If you shut off and just watch it as it is, it's better than Terminator 3 and Salvation. But I'm not gonna say it's gonna save the franchise.
Yeah.
But it puts it in a good point to tell new Terminator stories.
So, do you think this was a successful way to reboot then?
If you said reboot, yes.
I think I did.
I think it did a great job telling a new, unusual story. And the best part of this movie I'm going to tell you is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think he would be the Terminator after being the governor and as old as he is. Like, I'm like, oh, he doesn't have it anymore. Oh fuck yeah, that guy's a Terminator. He's like the best part of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Mostly because I hate Jay Courtney, who's like the main actor, and I want to punch him in the face. Remember, we talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, it's currently sitting at 27%.
Oh wow. I'm gonna go ahead and call that a victory on my.
Oh no, you definitely got it right. I'm not saying this is a great movie. I'm glad I saw it with my friends, because it was not as bad as everyone said it was gonna be. But it's nothing to write home. I won't go home and write about this. But it's still better than Jupiter Ascending, which was your first choice, but worse than Get Hard in the ratings. So
yeah.
Congratulations, you are 4 or 5. I will give you the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Point Break, if it moves in the next year, you get 5 of 5.
So I think it kind of comes down to, I guess, if this movie makes any money. I've never gone back and looked at the box office for some of the other Terminator movies, but I mean, if this Terminator movie just doesn't make its money back, it might be another 10 plus years before we see the Terminator again.
Well, currently it's sitting at 129 million worldwide. And I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
For a movie I didn't expect to, be amazing.
Yeah, and so it'll probably make its money back, but I think we just need to leave Terminator alone for a while. I mean, Arnold made those movies, and like you said, he was your favorite thing in that film. I think it's just time to set it to rest. I mean, I think it's an interesting story, and maybe we could reboot the franchise properly. I mean, normally I think people say, oh, don't reboot our precious film. But I mean, this movie's kind of been dragged through the dirt ever since the sequel, the second film. So let's just let it die for 10, 15 years.
Are you saying the second one's bad or the third one's bad?
No, the third one's bad.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna be like, after watching this, I think if they stop telling the same story about preventing Judgment Day and Skynet and focus on something new, which I think this will do, has set up to do, the next movie should be back to something, 50% to 60% on Rotten Tomato.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because it's like double where we are now. And I think they can do it after this. But I think it had to destroy itself before it could rebuild.
Yeah. And
again, that's just me being nice because I had fun. I turned off. I had a great time. And, and again, that's really all I got to say. I'm 3 for 5 on my movie countdown list too. Ant-Man is next, and then of course Star Wars is going to win. Duh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're safe.
If I can match your score though, I feel good.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? Maybe Point Break could pull out all the stops and surprise us all.
If it beats Star Wars, how are you going to feel about life?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to reevaluate it.
You really are. So, well, that's our news for the week. We've gone through several things here since we covered kind of 2 weeks really in one go.
Yeah.
A little bit. Next week's our San Diego Comic-Con podcast, and we've been talking about this probably since we started the podcast.
Oh, it's Nerd Mecca, man.
It is. And you're going. You finally got tickets. You got stickers.
Yeah, I got some superhero Slate stickers. I got 200 of them. I'm going to be handing them out all over the convention. I think people are really going to enjoy them. I'm going to stick one on the back of my very own car. So look out for those.
The car that doesn't run right now?
Yeah, the car that doesn't run right now. But yeah, if you somehow recognize this beautiful mug, I'll give you a sticker. No problem.
Yes, if you find us there, by us I mean Mike, do that. I will be updating this through comicui.com. Mm-hmm. We're kind of going through a rebuild of the site. We've had some malicious issues. We had a really bad host for a while, so we're switching hosts. And we're kind of going through a rebuild on the back end to make sure everything's good to go. Mm-hmm. But San Diego is when we're going to really kick up and start finding all the secrets and spoilers and leaked videos and stuff like that. Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, so definitely look out next week. I'll have some impressions from the ground floor, and we're going to talk about all the news. It's going to be thick.
Yes, again, thick like I like my women. On the bus.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right, that's a good time to stop.
Yeah.
All right, so if they want to follow you while you're at Comic-Con, will you be posting things?
Well, yes, if I can find a signal. Sometimes this is my first year going there with some LTE action, so maybe I'll actually be able to cut through the noise and post some updates. But you can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter or on Instagram, and should be a good time. I got a webcomic coming out next week for pickledcomics.com that has a Comic-Con theme that I think if you listen to the show, you'll really enjoy. But Chris, where can they find you?
You can find me at Twitter bitching about bike rides at Valdan, Valdan. Also on Comic UI where I write regularly. We have a website and a Facebook page too, so feel free to like that as well. And don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes. I think that's the coolest thing about our podcast here is when I can go to iTunes and search us and find it.
Yeah, I mean that's just it's the best, probably the best way to consume us. I would say is through iTunes, just because everything's automatically updated and you can actually rate us there, and the ratings are very, very helpful to us there. It's the best place to help the podcast non-monetarily. I suppose you could always just send us a check. We'd appreciate that, but we're not doing that now.
We'll probably accept PayPal soon.
Yeah. Yeah, so just go to iTunes and leave us a review if you like the show. We know you guys are out there listening, so we would definitely appreciate the review. And as always, you can always just visit superheroslate.com where we have the links to where all the places the show exists, which is pretty much every corner of the internet that accepts audio, and video, which YouTube. Chris, you put together some awesome videos for us every week.
Thank you. I have to say, 2 weeks ago, I haven't uploaded YouTube because whenever I moved, they put me on a slower internet package that they weren't supposed to, so I can't upload large videos very easily. However, as of Friday, that's been fixed, so I will be putting 2 YouTube videos up very shortly.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a grassroots show. I think people know that, and YouTube is just a whole monster in itself. And honestly, we should have like an intern helping us with all this stuff, but we don't have one. So we honestly bust our butts trying to get all this stuff up at the same time at the beginning of the week. So yeah, we're doing our best.
And it's great to hear some comments from you guys. If you want to email us at superheroslate@gmail.com. I want to do a shout out there. We got an actual email from Jacob Hinshaw, one of our listeners, who gets questions right and stuff. And he said that our comic book information from the last show really helped him.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome, man.
He's on Comixology, and he's really excited. And he did send us a fan submission, and it is literally a picture of a fan. And I have to applaud him for this pun of sorts, this play on word. Thank you, Jacob,
good job, Jacob,
entertaining us and give us some feedback. So if anybody else wants to send us horrible jokes, bad puns, anything really, feedback, just superheroslate@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Yeah, so that's the call to arms. Go do that stuff. And of course, I know you're all going to tune in next week, because who can resist the juicy Comic-Con news?
That's true, and we're excited for it. So
yeah,
that's it for 2 weeks. I think we did good.
All right, good job, man.
Thank you. Good job to you, Mike.
Aw, I think we can end it on that positive note.
We will. See you next week, guys.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.